Hey gang, welcome to the Gill Athletics Connections podcast, where we bring you the stories of track coaches. Oh, wait a minute. This episode does not feature a track coach. This episode features Stephen Madrid, who is one of the coordinators, supervisors of the track facility at the City of Albuquerque, the Albuquerque Convention Center. Was so fun to sit down with him today and just really kind of just chop it up about what it takes behind the scenes with this track and field facility. I know it's kind of out of the ordinary, not a track coach here, but I really think you're going to enjoy learning about Stephen Madrid and what his team does for the sport of track and field as they host amazing meets like the USA Nationals and the meet that we're at right now, the NCAA Nationals. So hope you enjoy. Please help me welcome the wise and wonderful Stephen Madrid. So thanks for joining me, Stephen. I was really looking forward to this. I started this podcast mainly for coaches because I believe in the connection of coaches and what they do. But you and I have I call it, you probably don't care, but I call it a special relationship, Stephen. You and I met years ago now when we were doing USA Championships here in Albuquerque. And you were always so conscientious. You and I just kind of struck up a friendship. I always say that you're the only guy I'm friends with on Facebook that's in your world here. So I'm just humbled to get some time with you because I think having people understand, I'm gonna call it the backside of track and field. So coaches come, they show up, the starting line's ready to go, the track's ready to go, and they compete and then they leave. Here in Albuquerque, we have a special track that's only here for a small section of the year. I'm going to say it was your job to do this. What do you do? What exactly do you do?
So do we go back to 2012? Is that about the time?
Yeah, I feel like it's earlier than that. But
2010 maybe?
Yeah,
11,
maybe.
right around there, yeah.
Yeah.
First time we hosted USA's is when we met, right?
Would that be 10?
Something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So I've been managing this indoor track since about 2010, but we first started working this track in 2005.
Okay.
Our first year set up.
So you were setting it up even before we had USA's. You were part of was it the crew or were you the supervisor?
What bit of history on the track? Scott Steffen at the time, he's a pole vault coach currently for Air Force.
Right.
But in 2005, he was part of the track and field team with the Lobos. It was a pole vault coach then.
Right.
And he knew about an indoor track that was for sale or was just sitting in a warehouse somewhere.
Okay. From California?
City of Los Angeles had purchased it.
Okay.
And from what I understand, it was supposed to be set up in the Staples Center.
Yeah, I remember this a little bit.
Yeah, and where the facts sit, sure. I'm not really 100%. What I know is what I'm going to tell you.
Right.
City of Los Angeles didn't want it.
Right.
I understand the City of Albuquerque went ahead and proposed interest in buying the track off of the company that was selling it at the time, and Councilor Brad Winter at the time, was involved.
Brad, decathlete.
Yeah, All-American pole vaulter for Oklahoma, yeah. And he was a 20-plus year council member for the City of Albuquerque. Yeah. He just retired in 2019.
Is that right?
Yes.
I met him a couple times. What a great guy.
He is. He's an instrumental part of this indoor track, and he was an asset for Albuquerque. Brad and I have created a relationship because of track and field and my role in it, and that's been great for me.
Yeah, is he still here in town?
He's retired now, so he just called me today. He's going to come out to the meet probably Saturday.
Good for him.
He's currently coaching high school girls track and field right now too. So
Good.
And I think he bumps back and forth from Florida to Albuquerque.
I bet he did.
So he's got that retired life.
Yeah.
So Matt Henry was the head coach of UNM track and field at the time. Mark Henry, his brother, was an assistant coach, and Scott Steffen was an assistant coach as well for UNM.
Okay.
Got with Counselor Brad Winter and proposed this opportunity of an indoor track.
So there was no indoor track at that point?
At that point in Albuquerque, no.
Okay.
The last I understand, Albuquerque had indoor track ended in the early 70s.
Oh.
And we were staple in the indoor track world to the 60s into the 70s.
Okay.
We'd set up a 160-meter track, I believe, at the Tingley Coliseum, made out of plywood. What I understand from history, yes. People could fact check me on that.
150 tracks are the worst.
Yeah.
So there's a 150 wooden
150,
banked.
160 or something.
Right.
Whatever it was.
And they had lots of good meats here.
Yeah.
And then do you know what made it stop?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. You know, things just.
It was a wood bank track. It probably broke. I mean,
probably wood warped. Who knows? So we lost track and field here for 30 years?
Right.
My math right?
Yeah.
30-ish years.
Right.
And city council, the mayor at that time signed off on it. Mayor Chavez, let's buy this track.
Right.
The deal was made with the company selling the track. They ship us this track in 2004.
Right.
And I don't know the facts again about how I got involved. My supervisor at the time. You don't know the facts how
you got involved?
Well, let me just say this. My supervisor at the time was Robin Henry.
Okay.
The brother of Matt and Mark Henry.
So was that Henry?
Yes. So they're all family.
Unbelievable Henry tradition.
Correct.
Which, if you don't know, those Henrys that we're talking about, the maybe more known Henry is, of course, Pat Henry at Texas A&M.
Correct.
All from New Mexico. Living legends here with what they've done, specifically in Albuquerque, I think, for track and field. It's amazing.
And you could go on to their father, and then their grandfather, and then their great uncle. I believe somewhere along that line, one of them was in the Olympics.
Is that right?
Yes. So the Henry family and track and field in Albuquerque goes deep.
Synonymous.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah. Okay, so you get this beautiful bank track.
Yes. I think at the time, Robin Henry, again, my supervisor, we were working in aquatics. So I was working on swimming pools. I was a blue-collar employee at the time.
Yeah.
Building maintenance worker, what they called. Mm-hmm. He called me in and said, hey.
Are you, sorry to interrupt.
That's right.
Are you from Albuquerque?
Born and raised.
Is that
Born and raised,
right?
yes. Born and raised. I will stay here till my last days.
You are Albuquerque. I mean, and again, I've known you now more because of, thank God for Facebook, in my opinion. But, you get to see the concerts you go to. You're a huge music fan, which is awesome.
Yes.
That's so cool.
I have long hair.
Why do
I have long hair? People ask me, because I'm a heavy metal fan. I want to go to a concert. I want to live the part. You
live it, baby.
And you've seen some of my videos. You saw that Korn video? Yeah, great time. And that's why I have long hair. I love my music.
Small world. A friend of mine, who is my tattoo artist, is friends with the drummer and maybe he's the bassist player, but guitar player for Korn. Brian Welch. I think
Brian Welch. Yeah.
And then I don't know the drummers.
Ray Luzier.
Yeah.
And so
they're all really good friends through faith, actually.
Well, so my late brother-in-law was really good friends with Ray Luzier. They actually played in a group together back in the 90s, maybe right around there. So my brother-in-law was a singer. Wow. He was with a band in the 90s called Seven Sign, the lead singer, and they were about up and coming. And then grunge showed up, grunge kind of ruined the hair metal scene back in that day.
It's funny.
But So I got a chance to meet Ray. It's been great, and I've had great times with Korns. But anyways,
awesome.
We got off the path.
So you're in aquatics, though.
Yeah, so I'm working for aquatics as a building maintenance worker.
Right.
So laborer, I'm the guy behind the scenes, like we're about to talk about for the track. So Robin Henry calls me in, and I didn't know what I was getting into. And you mentioned me. I'm Albuquerque. What does that mean for me? I hate. I don't know how to go with this, but I'm here to help.
Yeah.
And you've seen it. I do what it takes to get a job.
Absolutely. I think that's what draws me to you, Stephen, is you are the definition of what I would call a servant leader. I've always known you as a supervisor here, and you had a couple promotions since I've known you and things like that, and you still, there is no questions asked. If someone needs help, you get your hands dirty. You get right into it.
Why not?
Man. That's you say that. There are a lot of people who don't.
Not my job is not in my vocabulary.
Yeah, I believe that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And, it's frustrating when you hear that. When something has to get done and you see somebody just there and you see somebody struggling, how can you not help somebody that's in need of help?
Right.
And I think that's... I don't brag about that part of my life. Right. I do it because I choose to. Mm-hmm. I'm always looking out for somebody. Mm-hmm. I'm always trying to help somebody.
The cool thing is, because I know you say that, but I've seen you live it. That's the cool thing. Yeah. I love it. It. So you get the track, they call you in and tell you we're going to
learn how to build the track.
Did it come with a set of instructions?
It came with a couple Italians that built the track.
Oh, is that right?
And they Victor was his name, and I forget his counterpart's name at this time. It was so long ago.
Yeah, sure.
And put some gloves on, and they told us what to do. We listened, and we put panels together. And
so it's a 200-meter bank track.
Yeah.
Did it also have the raised runways and straightaways, or what?
So this track we have, it is a 200-meter bank track.
Right.
It had at the time 1 pole vault and 1 long jump.
Right. Okay.
And then an infield that laid on top of the concrete.
Right. And not the whole infield, though, right? Just the straightaways, if I remember right?
Yes, just the competition. So at the time, it was just the infield straightaways in the high jump area.
Right. Oh, high jump. Right.
Everything else was exposed concrete.
Right. That's right.
It was fun times, let me tell you. I thought people had ice skates on and not spikes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you think about the relays. As
soon as they step off.
Where are they going as soon as they hand off the baton?
Right.
Immediately to the concrete.
The ice rink.
Yes. And those were some interesting days. And of course, we've evolved since then.
How many pieces? Yeah, I think of this Lego set essentially. Mm-hmm. How many pieces was it when you first got it and you're learning?
So, over the years, I've learned this track, and we have over 800 panels.
That have to go in a specific order even, right?
Yes. So think of it as a big jigsaw puzzle with all the same pieces.
That's all the same pieces.
So how do we overcome that?
Yeah.
We numbered the underside of the panels.
Okay.
Or the side of the oval on the framing work. So,
right.
And then you take those numbers and you put it on your blueprint.
Right.
So you know where it goes.
So this track gets put down. It's not a year-round track. When do you put it in? We're in the convention center here in Albuquerque. When does the crew actually start and put the track down?
I like to start in mid-December.
Okay.
Right before the holidays.
Because there's other events.
Yes.
Concerts and conventions and stuff.
Yes.
You get a certain date every year.
Yes.
And how long does it take? Let me ask it a different way. How long did it take? Because I'm sure you've gotten more efficient.
Yes.
How long that first build and how many people?
That first build, gosh, you're taking me back now. Obviously, that was...
Did you have short hair back then?
Actually, I did.
Did you really?
Look at my badge. I carry my old badge from back then, and that's me.
I don't recognize you.
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah. I used to get a fade haircut,
Wow.
And then,
I can't imagine. I mean, I think you've always had this since I've known you. I say this. Your hair like this.
And that was in 05. No, I was short hair. So you were in around 05, 6, 7, and 8.
I started Gill in 06.
Okay, so
the fall. So it wouldn't have been 07 would have been the earliest, and I don't think it was 07.
So 05, 6, 7, and 8 was when we worked with the Henrys. In 2009, a bowling tournament came into Albuquerque for 6 months.
Okay.
And they took up the whole 106,000 square foot convention center. And we had bowling lanes from wall to wall. And we were featured on ESPN. It was a PBA championships that.
Right here?
Right where the track is currently set up, yeah.
Wow.
So at that time, the Henrys all retired at the same time.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then in 10, I took over the track.
Okay.
But before we get there, we'll continue with the setup in those early days.
Yeah. So how long that first time had to be mad?
Yeah, it was a long time, and we set it up for one meet, the Mountain West Championships.
Oh.
And we took it down. So it took a couple months to set it up.
How, you say one meet though, but how long was it?
It took a couple months to set it up because some other work needed to take place. They still needed to resurface some of the pole vault panel? I believe they had to resurface the pole vault or long jump. I don't remember. So there had some work that had to be completed before then. Yeah, for one meet.
Any horror stories on that first meet?
No,
first time?
No, nothing that I remember.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
It didn't separate and someone fell. Yeah, good.
Right. So we did it the first year in 2005, and again, I like to call it burro. And that means like the bull, the worker.
Okay. Yeah.
Just take instruction. Yes, sir.
Yep.
How high do you want me to jump?
I know that one very well. Trust me. Yeah.
So the second year, it was on us, and we relocated it at that time. So the first year was dead center of the convention center.
And when you say this is huge. Are we talking about this?
Yes,
where it is today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's always been this place. Yeah, dead center of the convention center.
Okay.
So we're over for our listeners. For our listeners, we're overlooking the track right now from a suite. Is where we're having this interview. And
when you're friends with Steve in Madrid, you get to be in the suite. So, yeah.
You look outside this window. That used to be where our shot put ring is, right on the concrete.
Interesting.
Right on the concrete.
Right in front of the check-in area or whatever.
Yes, right at the clerking area. Yeah, that's where our shot put throw was at that time.
Okay.
So every year we've made an improvement.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the second year, and I have one story I like to talk about.
Okay.
And we were setting up one day, and you start with turn number 1.
Okay.
So you go from the finish line of the oval to the center.
Right.
Then you go to the opposite end to turn number 3, where the transition is coming down from the track to the straightaway.
Right.
And you bring the turns together to meet in the center.
So you build
at the peak.
The two for the whole turn. You build it in 2 halves and bring it together, not just one continuous.
You do not continue.
Yeah,
yes.
interesting.
So you build one side up to the center point. You bring the opposite end
okay.
to the center point, and then you bolt them together.
Okay.
So we were.
Is that the hardest part? The raised part?
Honestly, Mike, what's funny about setting this track up, and you see it panel by panel. You walk in the convention center day 1, 106,000 square foot bare facility. You're like, dang, this is a big place.
Yeah.
Then you start building that track, and you just get into a rhythm. Everybody has a job.
Right.
Everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it's like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. Now it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it is. And you look up and you're like, oh, wow, we have more than half of the track up.
Right.
And that's in one day. Yeah. So
how many people is that?
We have about 20 employees. So in the early days, you used 2 forklifts, built one side. You took everybody over to the other side.
Okay.
2 forklifts, build up again, and you bolt them together.
Right.
These days, we use 4 forklifts. We have a crew on one side, crew on the other side. We bring them together. We meet at the same time.
So is that 20 people or is that 40 people?
That's 20 people.
That's 20. Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of
10
call it 10-10. Yeah.
And you have 2 forklift operators on each side. So yeah.
Right.
So
that's
anyway,
what's amazing to me is the amount of pallets. I mean, it's so many stuff. So much.
You see all the stuff on the dock, right? We have a lot of pallets out there.
Yeah.
I'm always looking out for the pallet thieves.
Yeah.
They sell good pallets. I know I still need those.
Oh yeah.
But we were building in 2006, and so we built the first part of the turn, and then we came with the second part of the turn, and we were just perfectly exactly 1 panel short from meeting up.
Oh.
And we're looking at it like, why are we short? And through some course of conversations, we realized that when you put the leg down, you put a panel on.
Mm-hmm.
We should have put the panel on, I'll just say on the, I don't know how to say it because I'm trying to explain for the listeners.
Right, yeah, it's hard to give this visualization.
We put it on one side of the leg when we should have put it on the opposite side of the leg.
Okay, and for each section you did
so
that.
you put a leg panel, leg panel, leg panel, leg panel.
Right.
And instead of putting it, and I'm showing Mike with visuals here. We put the leg and the panel on this side.
Gotcha.
When we should have put the panel on this side.
And that added up to a gap of one panel. And so you had to restart essentially because you can't just push it.
We couldn't just slide it over. No, we had to take it all down and put it back up. So what does Steven do? Yeah, I just referred to myself in third person. Yes. I wrote it down. I carried a little pocket notebook with me.
Okay.
And I wrote it down.
Uh-huh.
And I said, because I'm not, who likes to do things twice, right?
Right, exactly.
So I didn't want to do that a second time. And so I wrote it down. We complete the track setup that year. Okay. It's over. Season happens.
And you have a full season this
time.
Season,
just
one yeah, good.
For I think 4 events that year. I don't recall if we hosted Mountain West that year, Mountain West Championship that year. Took it down, stored it. Perfect. By the way, we have a storage facility in southern Albuquerque. It's called Montesa Park, climate controlled.
Oh.
It's about a 10,000 square foot facility. So
right. Now you kind of glossed over that a little fast because you said, "Oh, we took it down, we stored."
Yeah.
I mean, taking it down is its own process as well. I think that was the first time I really started to maybe not understand it, but have a appreciation because we were doing USAs. We were done on a Saturday night or Sunday night, whatever.
We started taking down,
and so as we're moving our equipment off, your team gets to work, and it was like, oh my God, look at it. I mean, there's just again pallets and pallets and pallets and forklifts going around, and I think I remember asking, I was like, so how long will you guys be here? And you're like, oh yeah, we'll leave here at 10 or 11, but we're all day tomorrow. And I was like, oh my goodness, yeah.
And we'll do that actually this weekend after NC2A National Championships.
That happens every year. right? Like,
depending on what our last meet is. And what it is, it's usually a championship indoor meet when we start taking down. If it's not the Mountain West Championships.
Right.
Last year in 2019, the Mountain West Championships were our last meet. We were out of here by February, end of February. Yeah, that's probably been the earliest date I've been out of the convention center in a long time.
Because USA's or NCAA's was usually your last.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
We didn't host USA's last year. Right. We didn't host NCAA's this last year as well too.
Right.
So this is our second longest season. We hosted NC2A's back in 2014.
Yeah.
We were the same time frame right now.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll be here Saturday taking this down. Same thing. 4 forklifts going, and we'll try to be as quiet as we can while the awards are going on. But we want to get started.
We know that one absolutely.
Yeah.
And who owns the track?
The City of Albuquerque.
The city, and you work for the city.
Yes.
Who owns the convention center?
City of Albuquerque.
So it's all free, right? Because the city owns, I'm going to say the city owns you, but the labor, the city owns the track, the city owns the convention center. So this is like a cash cow every time, right?
Yeah, I wish.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the convention center is actually run by a private convention company.
Like an event management or convention management
company? Convention management. They used to be SMG Global. They have since changed their name, and I'm not aware of it. It just happened when we started setting up this year. It's like, okay.
Oh, it went down this year?
Yeah, so, the funny thing is I do have to pay a facility fee, a facility fee to use my own facility.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it a season fee or is it an event fee?
Per event fee.
Okay.
Yes.
And does New Mexico, the university, use this for practice, or is the weather good enough that you just stay outdoors?
So, and to explain to the listeners out there, I think we have the only partnership with a university in the city of Albuquerque. I don't know of any other city in the United States that works with the city of Albuquerque and their local university to put on indoor meets. I know Birmingham city manages their own indoor track facility.
Right. But it's not attached to
and they don't
UAB or anything like that.
Same thing with any of other indoor facilities are owned by universities. We are the only ones where we partner with the University of Mexico track and field team and City of Albuquerque. And yes, we do have our agreements that we sign. And what the agreement is the City of Albuquerque picks up the rental facility costs.
Right.
And the University of New Mexico, did I say that correctly? City of Albuquerque picks up the cost.
City pays the cost.
And the University of Mexico provides transportation from storage to the convention center.
They pay for that.
They pay for that, and the labor for setup.
Oh, so that's
all
pretty penny.
over my supervision.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So the season will take place. My staff comes in. We maintain the track. And when it comes to takedown, the University of New Mexico is responsible for takedown, transportation back to storage.
The payment of, because you're still doing your team.
They hire everybody. They rent the equipment. They do that part, but everything's under my supervision.
Okay.
It's not a green light until I give the green light, if you will.
Right.
So that's the partnership we have.
Yeah. So what are from your side of it? What are some of the things that maybe the normal coach that comes in and just runs a meet here, runs a Mountain West Championship or an NCAA's, they don't see? What things go behind the scenes that you're always not fretting about, but it's like, I got to make sure this always happens, and no one never sees it?
So outside of the indoor track with my job, I also work in events. Out at Balloon Fiesta Park. That's actually where my office is located.
Okay.
If some of you listeners have never heard about the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta,
it's huge.
Check it out. It happens the first Saturday in October. We have over 500 hot air balloons.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, so I'm fortunate enough to be a part of that as well for my profession. So I am located out at Balloon Fiesta Park. That's from offices. Okay. So I'm in events. The best way I can answer your question is, people attend an event, whether it be a concert, indoor track meet, or a festival of some kind, and they just see it.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
The user experience is, I come to watch a track meet, staying here.
And that's all they should have to experience.
Right.
Right. But, they don't see the preparation for an event, what takes place. So because we have a partnership with the University of New Mexico and the City of Albuquerque, and to include the Visit Albuquerque.
Right.
There's some personnel over there. Angie Jepson, she's in charge of bringing in. She brings in a lot of events.
Yeah, the Visitors Bureau bringing in events.
The Visitors Bureau, yes. Mm-hmm. She's part of the sports section of Visit Albuquerque. I know she's involved in the New Mexico Bowl as well.
Right.
She brings numerous sporting events in Albuquerque.
Because the big key for the city, like why does the city do this, is because it brings in hotel revenue.
Economic impact.
Right, the economic
it's great.
impact, right. I think I read an article this morning, this meet, the NCAA championships, is $1 million impact on the city.
That's what it's projected to be,
Yeah, I actually thought it would be more, to be honest.
Yeah, I know in 2014 it was $1 million, and you know it's been what was my math? It's been 6 years since we hosted that.
Right.
You would expect it to be more this year.
Yeah, right.
But you know, in light of what's going on today in the world, we may feel the effects of that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, what I understand, the economic impact for the first 14 seasons has been well over $20 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. But ask me if my budget increases. I
don't want to
go down that road. Yeah. So, you know, I've been working on the same budget since 2010.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And who else? So you have your branch, the people that you're in charge of that are responsible for different things. Who else, for something like this and the different events that you've done here for the indoor track space specifically right now, you mentioned like an Angie who brings in events. Is there a lot of influence positively from mayors and governors and whatnot?
This wouldn't be possible if the administration of Albuquerque was not involved. And what I mean by administration, it starts from the mayor's office down to city council. And Mayor Tim Caller has been very involved in indoor track, and he's a big supporter of it.
Awesome.
Right. My director, Director Dave Simon in Parks and Recreation, he was just here. When you go through different mayors and administrations, as I have, you have to introduce them into what you do. And a little bit of education, what you do. Show them the numbers. Show them the figures of what this does. Right. We opened this track during the week for the citizens of Albuquerque, so we're bringing a lot of youth clubs in here.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, just to practice, free of charge. Come on in.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's we were just talking about the economic impact. That's an impact that obviously is not dollars, but is positivity for the city and the surrounding area.
What's the term that health? There's that term I can't recall.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
Yeah. Well, the well-being of the citizens.
Right.
It's dead of winter. Who's running out of the? We have trails along our river. We call the Bosque.
Okay.
There's a lot of we're known for miles upon miles of bicycle and walking trails along the city of Albuquerque. Sometimes when it's cold out there, you don't want to do that.
How cold is cold here in, say, January?
For me, 40 degrees now. What are we at now? Let me see what the temperature is right now.
It's chilly outside.
Is it for you?
It's not cold, though.
Let me refresh my temperature here.
I'm from Illinois. It's 40 degrees back.
I have 66 degrees right now.
Yeah. I'm getting a little bit of a wind. I said chilly. I didn't say cold.
Cold for me, I think we can get down to 25 degrees at night. Right. In the evening, about 30 degrees. So it can't get cold in the winter here.
Does UNM use this for practice?
Yes, mainly?
Or?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's like a lot of tracks around the country during the wintertime. You have an indoor track, you use the indoor track.
Right. Sure.
So we work very well together with Coach Franklin and his staff and his athletes. And they're here all indoor track season long practicing.
Awesome.
It's funny. I see a lot of these athletes. I guess I've been here for 15 years now, and
the realization of age just hit you right there.
Did you see my face? I've seen a lot of these. I can't believe I'm saying this. I never thought I'd say that. I never thought I'd say this. But I see those kids start, and all of a sudden they're done. I'm like, where did so-and-so go? They graduated.
Right.
And then they come visit 2-3 years later. And they remember me. They remember the long hair. Hey, Steve, how's it going? And I'm like,
you're an unforgettable guy, Steve, honestly.
So and you're naming guys you used to run for the locals, right? What have you been up to? They're educators now. They're engineers. They're working on their doctorate, and medical doctors. Yeah. So,
what was did you have a track background at all before this, or did you track education by hosting?
Good question. I actually ran Hershey's track and field when I was a child.
Is that right?
I actually did, and I think that was part of a community center program at that time in the summer. And I found out real fast running wasn't for me.
No, were you running 100-meter dash
yeah,
type stuff?
you know, I think they tried me out to run different things.
Good, yeah.
But it was like I was born with galoshes and running in the mud type. That's the best I could explain it. Yeah, I couldn't run fast. Running wasn't my thing.
Right.
So I started swinging a baseball bat and throwing a baseball, and baseball was my thing growing up. Yeah,
right?
I'm a pretty diehard baseball fan.
What were you? Yeah, that's right. I see Dodgers all
Dodgers,
the time, right?
big time Dodger fan.
Right,
big time
right.
Dodger fan.
Is that what? Because there's no professional team in New Mexico.
We actually, growing up here in Albuquerque, we had the AAA team of the Dodgers. They were the Dodgers farm team were the Albuquerque Dukes.
Okay, so you're saying were, but we have one.
Well,
that's a different one.
So
okay.
From the 60s to the 90s,
okay.
Albuquerque had a contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Right.
So I saw all the Dodgers come through Albuquerque. I'd go watch a AAA team play, the Albuquerque Dukes.
Right.
I used to see.
So that's how you became a Dodgers fan.
Yes. So my passion is baseball.
Right.
And the Dodgers would come. I've seen Tommy Lasorda was here numerous times. You'd see him opening day every day for AAA Dodgers Dukes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mike Sosa played here for a while. He actually managed here as well for a while. The Ramon brothers, Pedro and Ramon Martinez, played here. Kurt Gibson played here. Dale Strawberry played here. I've seen all these guys here.
All of them.
Paul LaDuca played here. Mike Piazza played here.
Wow.
They all came through Albuquerque before they went on.
Every baseball player I know. I'm not a
baseball player. That's about it?
I knew everyone but LaDuca. I was like, I don't know.
Paul LaDuca, he was a catcher, if you remember.
No, I don't.
I think this is how it went. Mike Piazza got traded to the Florida Marlins
I know
that
Mike
time.
Piazza.
And Paul LaDuca got brought up. He actually played for the Dodgers for a while. I can't remember his whole career, but yeah. So you can hear I have a passion for baseball. Yeah. So I was a baseball guy.
So what position did you play?
I was actually what I ended up being strongest at was a pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So I was a pitcher. I was kind of a pretty good pitcher. So
what high school did you go to?
I went to West Mesa High School. I graduated in '96 out here. Yeah.
Right?
You know, life was a little different for me growing up, and you know, I didn't know the procedures to play college ball and Title IX. Oh, not Title IX. What is it? Gosh, what's it called?
Something with baseball or college?
Yeah, it's college sports where you're not allowed to play college sports because you didn't take the right curriculums.
Oh, yeah, the clearinghouse.
Clearinghouse. Yeah,
academically eligible and all that kind of stuff.
So you know, and I didn't realize that.
Sure.
And I tried out. And, you know, it is what it is.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's my past, and it is what it is.
That's right.
And I'm okay with it. Played a lot of recreation baseball and then softball, but ever since then I'm a golfer now. So
is that right?
So to come back to indoor track.
I've seen no golf pictures on Facebook.
You haven't?
I don't think I have.
Okay.
Baseball? Because as soon as you said that, I was like, oh yeah, Dodgers.
So you don't stalk me on Facebook?
I do, yeah.
You would have seen those.
Here's the good news: I don't stalk you.
You don't
That's
stalk
right.
me.
The concerts are ones that I see all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe because I like music.
Yeah.
We don't listen to the same kind of music, but I like music, so maybe those more resonate with me. But I haven't seen any golf ones.
Golfing will start up here now in the spring. My golf league actually starts.
Oh, you're in a league.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you golf.
They start actually this coming. I don't know if it's today or next Thursday is the actually start of the season, but I'll be busy taking track down. Yeah. So, when it comes to track and field, I had 1 or 2 summers of Hershey's track and field back in the day, and then I joined the baseball program for those summer teams, and I didn't continue in track and field too much. So in 2005, I just jumped feet first into this project here, and 15 years on indoor track and the relationships you make, like ours, you learn track.
Yeah. What surprised you the most about track? As you really got to learn, you saw meets and high level meets. What was like, oh man, that's weird. Like we would never do that in baseball or something like that.
Well, I think the interesting is how effortlessly these runners run.
They're amazing, aren't they?
And I'm like, I could do that. So when nobody's in the facility and it's just me, I'm like, all right, now mark, set, go.
Wait, you've never tried to pole vault, have you?
I have a story about that too.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Pole vaulting is one of the, and you know this because again, 15 years of indoor. Vaulters are their own niche.
Yeah. I learned that after I tried pole vaulting when nobody was here.
Did you really?
Yeah, probably almost crushed my esophagus.
Did you get off the ground?
No, almost. The pole never bent.
Well, I don't think it's supposed to for guys like when we just tried it.
Right.
Because I tried it once too. My feet got an inch off the ground. I was like, done.
Yeah. So
never again.
I think I was still blue collar at the time. I was like, I'm gonna give this a try. Nobody was in the facility, and I took off. I don't know what the hell pole I got, you know. And the pole didn't bend.
Right.
And it grazed my neck. I was like, wow, 3-4 more inches over, I might be choking. Yeah, it scared me to never do it again.
Did you make it into the pit?
No, the pole just stayed there. I kept running and moving forward, and that pole just grazed my neck. Oh. And I was like, wow, that was pretty close. And I had a big scratch on my neck. Yeah. So I never tried.
And never again.
No.
See, that shows how smart you are.
Yeah.
So not so bright of us would have like, well, I'm gonna try that again.
I can
do
it,
like,
right?
I'm done. Yeah.
So I've observed over the years what all those little drills that these pole vaulters are doing for a reason. And I see what they do. And we had the world record here from Jen Scher back in 2013, I believe.
That's right.
And she beat it 2 years later. Yeah. But you see them do these drills. Even the pros, the gold medalists of the United States are doing these drills. Right. And they're for a purpose.
Yeah.
And I learned that, and I'm still not interested in trying it. I'm still not interested in trying it. And, I did mention I was a pitcher, and I did blow out my shoulder a few years ago. I tore a labrum in there. And I said, I'm going to throw a men's shot put.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you do a shot put? Yeah.
I think I tore my labrum again. I said, oh, shoot.
That thing's freaking heavy, 16 pounds.
I was like, give me the women's one. That's a little lighter. I can use that. Yeah. And, and I joke, I strained my shoulder, but I didn't hurt it.
Yeah,
but,
it's amazing. The shot put is an interesting event for me because it is just the brute strength. It's 16 pounds, and these guys and gals are 70 feet and more. It's just a strength event.
And it goes back to what I say about it. They make it it's effortless for these athletes. And we have the best out here right now. Absolutely. With NC2As here. So I'm watching these men throw the weight and they're just lobbing it.
35 pounds, 70 plus.
Yes, just going through the air like nothing, And, I've been here when nobody's here trying it, and I can barely get it to the carpet we have. And our carpet is maybe 10 feet from the ring.
Right.
I'm still hitting concrete. I'm like, you guys make this look too easy. And then go, including running. I'm going to do a lap around the 200 meters, so I'm sucking wind around turn number 2. And so that's what I would say about track and field. The athletes we have on this track are just phenomenal. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And, I've learned, especially team scoring of track and field. And that's what I really like.
Yeah.
I like the Mountain West Championship.
Right. I agree with this.
The NC2A championships, it's all team-based, scoring-based. What have you done to get the points for your team?
Right.
So that's the part of it I like. And, of course, individual winners as well, too, know. When you hear that was a PR for somebody, And when it's done on my track, it's satisfying.
Right.
Christian Coleman setting the world record here in 2018 in the 60 meters. It was a 6.43 on lane number 5 on my infield.
Yeah. That's right.
It's a big deal,
That's cool.
And I learned real quick that you just don't give world records out.
Yeah.
I got to get my surveyor's report out. I've got to get a steel tape measure. We're measuring that infield. And
so that's interesting. I didn't think about this. So
I learned that real quick, too.
Under a little bit more stress.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you have to survey the track every year?
Every year we survey it, yes.
And what does that mean? Does an engineer come in? What does surveying the track mean?
Recently, the last 3 years, the Cit of Albuquerque's engineer department, we've reached out to, and we get a surveyor to come to do it.
Uh-huh.
And so they come in. His name is Lauren with the Cit of Albuquerque.
Okay.
He's been doing
he's a
surveying
engineer
for us over the last few years. And he'll measure out a couple lanes in the oval, make sure we're at 200 meters.
So he's checking the length of the track, make sure it's still 200 meters.
And level on the runways for
everything's level, right?
What I've learned over the years is you can't have a decline at so many degrees on
as much as the athletes would like.
Yeah, right. So when we set the world record for Jen Scher, they want to know what we were at, and we were perfectly level all the way across.
Right.
So it stayed in.
So they do that initially when you put the track down every year.
Yes, every year.
And then when someone sets a record, whether it was a 60 meter or a vault, they have to recheck it because you have to sign some kind of form.
Yeah, we have to provide that information.
So does that happen immediately? Like, do you call Lauren up, like, hey man, we just had a record come down?
We already have his report. We'll present it.
Okay.
For Christian Coleman, what things do we have? You have to have electric blocks in place because he said it earlier in the year. I think.
It comes in.
Didn't have electric. Right, so you have to have electric blocks.
Right.
You have to have the survey report we're level.
Right.
We pulled out the steel tape measure and make sure we were at 60 meters exactly.
Oh, okay, so you measure the actual distance.
Yes.
Okay, it's 60.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, somebody from USA was actually running around asking for all this stuff. I'm providing
they're
what they were requesting.
Whether it was the meet referee or something, he has to sign off the final sign off.
Yeah, so I think actually Christian Coleman's world record took about 6 months, I think, for it to be validated.
Okay. Right.
And it holds up, and I don't want to be the guy to say, hey, you made the mistake by not doing it this way, so that's going to hold up. So that's a nightmare of mine.
This place, and by this place meaning you and your team and many, many others, have created a culture of like, this is a great place to run. People like to run here. People like to vault here. Could you imagine how quick that goes away? Coleman sets the 60 and it doesn't get ratified because it was 59 meters.
Correct.
Or what? It's like, that's devastating.
Correct.
Like, your reputation is on the line.
And not mine, not Steven's.
Oh, yeah, for me it is. I'm going to call you.
You're calling me?
What you guys do? Yeah.
You know what I'm concerned about? The city of Albuquerque.
Yeah.
I have a bigger role than just Steven.
Absolutely.
You know, it's the city of Albuquerque can't put a track together correctly.
Right. That's right.
I work hard every year. So, and that's the way I look at it. Mm-hmm. The athletes are busting their tails when we don't see them. Right. It's just like event setup we're talking about.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah.
They're out there. I see them, Mike, out here every day, giving it their all practice to get to what they're trying to strive for.
Right.
And what I do, what's the difference? Yeah, I could just put the track up.
Right.
There could be waves in it. The lines aren't straight.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. You know, and I install that into my staff. And what's funny is I thought of a memory this year. One of our runways for one of the long jumps was a little bit off. It wasn't straight. Okay. I can see it. So I instruct some of my employees to go straighten it out. And an employee comes to me. He's like, we have it 99.9% straight. No, I lie. He says we have it 99% straight.
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect. I said, now what are we going to do for that 1%?
Ha.
And his face was like, come on. And I told him, I said, we talked about this at the beginning of the season.
Right.
We do it correctly or we don't do it at all.
Right.
I said, now go give me that 1%. We're making it perfect.
And he got it done.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, that's a really good lesson for coaches as they talk with their athletes. You know, 99% is really good, right? Like, you get a 99 on a test. Yeah. You feel good. It's an A plus, right? What are you going to do for that 1%? Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
That's the difference from a world record to 99%, right?
Right.
And again, and the way I look at it is these athletes are giving it their all every practice.
Right.
They might, there's some athletes out there that do the minimum just get by, you know. Yeah. But it's that 1% that are eating right every day. Right. That are going home early, getting the rest they need. Mm-hmm. You know, not going out to the party. Right. They're getting up before everybody else. They get up before the Army to work out, run a 10-mile run. Right. That take their craft serious. Yeah. So I will not shortchange them. So I do what I can.
Fascinating to me is, and again, we get in our own bubbles, and that's okay because not everybody can think of everything. But we tend to forget when we come to a facility as nice and as such as we have here in Albuquerque that there are, in the scheme of things, hundreds of people that are working to put this together, whether it's putting the actual track together, making sure it's right, getting the event to come into the city, things like that. There's so much that goes in.
The mayor of Albuquerque, Tim Keller, started a campaign out here called One Albuquerque.
One Albuquerque.
What does that mean to you? You see my sculpture out there. Well, let me rephrase that. You see the city of Albuquerque, one Albuquerque
sculpture too?
There's sculptures out there. It says One Albuquerque. And what does it mean to me? For me, it means, everybody working together. Not only city of Albuquerque, other departments, the University of New Mexico track and field team, University of New Mexico administration, Visit Albuquerque, the hotels, the restaurants. Who am I forgetting? We're all one. Right. We all live in Albuquerque. We all need to work together to strive for one common goal. And what's the common goal that we are all looking for? For me, I want to put on the most successful indoor track event I can. Right. With what I'm responsible for, and what am I responsible for? The indoor track being set up properly. Right. Looking its best every meet. Right. So
you have a ton of pride for this city.
I've been told that more than once.
Yeah.
Do I get upset when somebody tries to give me a bad comment about my city?
Right.
Yeah. I'll come back at them.
Absolutely.
And what's so different about our city to any other municipality our size? Right. I think we all have our issues in their cities. Right. So, I want to talk about the good things that take place. Right. Indoor track.
Yeah, lots of good things here in Albuquerque.
Yeah, there really is.
Right, yeah. It's interesting. It's kind of coming to me a little bit. I travel I always say the world, but the country.
Yeah.
So I go, from Boston to Seattle, LA to Miami, and people ask me a lot because I'm here almost every year. You guys host so many great meets. I'm here almost every year.
We built it.
And and people ask me, it's like, oh, do you like Albuquerque? Because it's not sexy Miami and LA. And I'm like, I do, and I can never put my finger on it, but I think it is that the people. Obviously you, because we're talking about you here and in the friendship we've had, the other people, the nameless people, the people at my hotel that I stay at, my Uber drivers that I had, things like that. It's the people of this place, and many track coaches here and things like that. The people here are just they're kind of just real people.
Yeah,
it's hard to define that, but
I understand what you mean.
Yeah,
and I tell I don't have kids. But, I look at my employees as kids, and I try to instill in them that one person makes a difference. What are you going to do to make a difference? And sometimes it might be a simple wave to somebody you never
Absolutely.
met. And I make it a habit for me and my it's going to sound cheesy and corny, but I see somebody out of town plate, on license plate.
Yeah. Dude, you're conscientious about it.
Wave at them. I am.
Interesting.
Somebody with the blinker trying to get in front of me.
Right.
Yeah, I'm an aggressive driver. No, I see the California plate. Oh, come on in.
Maybe not for California.
No, Dodgers.
That's right.
And I'm a Raider fan too, so I'm like, Broncos, Rockies. You guys can see
Vegas now, which is where they should be, right? Like
Correct.
Raiders, Vegas. That just
correct. Yeah. Well, yeah, right. Yeah. They would. But
sense.
No, anybody from out of town, I do recognize that license plate from being out of town. Yeah, and I want to be. I can make the difference.
Right.
And a counselor, he just recently passed away, Ken Sanchez. He had a great saying, and I'm a believer in it, and it's I believe. Politicians say I believe.
Yeah.
And I do believe too. I think each person can make a difference.
Right.
One person makes a difference.
Well, you're an example of that. Again, that's for people who don't know you, and God bless, I don't know you. We're friends through Facebook and through this, but you have real friends. But I know you this route, and what's so awesome is again that you say this.
But you see it.
I see it. Yeah.
And I don't brag about it. We were talking now. I'm being interviewed. Yeah, no. I don't ever bring this up and talk about it. I'm talking to you about things I never tell people about.
Humblest people I know, without a doubt.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't share this with people. I don't know why I'm sharing it.
That's why I wanted you here. This is exactly it. Yeah.
When people listen to this, they're like, that's not the Stephen I know. But I don't brag about it. It's not something I advertise. I'm not looking for recognition for being the person I am.
You do brag about it, and bear with me. Not by talking, but the bragging is because you do it. You live it. That is a type of bragging. It's the good type. So what? We talked about the indoor track, and that's a 3-month-ish time frame. December through March.
So that was the early days. You talking about setup?
Yeah.
So our best time setting this track up was 9 days. Yeah.
Your best. See, I don't think people realize that. Yeah. You just said the best time, the fastest time to set up this track, 9 days.
Yes.
Holy cow. How many hours a day is that?
That was a struggle.
That's like a couple hours a day.
We worked 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. We had just Sunday off that year. We needed at least one day off. But there were long days and we got it up.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is our 15th season with this track.
Right.
So matter of fact, it's for sale. Cit of Albuquerque voters approved $2.5 million to purchase a new indoor track.
Is LA selling another one?
I don't know if anybody in LA has
what if $500 million.
Give me a call. They want it back? That'd be funny. So this is our 15th season.
Okay.
These portable tracks are made for 10 seasons, 10 years up and down.
Okay.
We've taken a lot of care in what we do, and we got 15 seasons on it. But now's the time. We want to continue indoor track in Albuquerque. It's time to replace this track, and the voters went ahead and approved money for a new track. So this track is, what are we gonna do with it? We're gonna sell it. We're not sure, but we'd like to sell it and move it on to somebody else.
Right.
And if anybody's interested in it, contact me in Cit of Albuquerque. You can find me online.
It's a great track.
My email's smadrid@cabq.gov. Shoot me an email.
That's cool.
And we're going to take down Saturday. I encourage everybody to come down and watch the procedure of us take it down. Look under the hood, if you will.
Yeah. So is this the last? This is the last meet for this track? Next year will be a new track.
Man, the way you put it like that, I didn't realize that.
I didn't either. Yeah.
This is our last meet.
Wow.
With this track.
That track. I mean, if you want to see some facility records, come look at the records from this track, man.
Look it up.
It's fast.
Yeah.
Again, I was just down at the pole vault area, and a couple of pole vault coaches. One pole vault coach hasn't been here before, and he was asking a couple of the other guys that had been here before, "Hey, so how many poles do you go up?" That means that when you go up poles, it means you're jumping better and higher, and non-vault coach here, but so because they know that you got to do something different, you got to bring bigger poles because it's such a fast.
Oh, really?
Runway, absolutely. Yeah.
I love hearing these stories.
Yeah. That's awesome. And this is it.
Yeah. So this year's setup, it took 13 days. Lucky 13. Gosh. And because of the age of it, I wanted to get in here early this year. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, there were no events going on. Sorry, convention center, but there were no events taking place in late December. So we actually moved the track from storage to the convention center starting on Monday, December 16th.
Okay.
More people, we have been evolving every year. What can we do to make it better? Mm-hmm. How can we improve? And that's what I'm about. Improve every year. Mm-hmm. And I think we've done that. This year we incorporated the park management staff from the City of Albuquerque to help move and set the track up.
Okay.
So we moved this track.
How many trucks?
It was, when we just do the semi-trucks, it's 15 semi-loads. We use 2 trucks.
Full semi?
Yeah, full semi. The 53-footers.
15?
Yeah.
1.5?
1.5.
Holy crap.
Yeah. There's a lot of equipment in this track.
Wow.
So, I want to say maybe back in 2013, we started talking about the ice skate ring out there.
Oh yeah, that's right. You say better every year. You upgrade it.
So in 13, I think we got a new infield.
Okay.
And
so that added to the number of pieces.
Yeah. So what did I do with my old infield?
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah.
You see the transition of the colors out there. There's certain areas where they look a little more burgundy color, if you will.
Right.
That's my old infield.
Huh.
So my solution at that time was to use the old infield. It's incorporated into those bare spots.
Okay.
And now we have complete surface out there.
Yeah, complete coverage now.
Everywhere, yeah. So,
and you've added runway for the long jump and pole vault since.
So when we hosted the NC2As back in 14, one of the requirements were 2 long jumps.
Right.
So that year,
flow of athletes, long and triple.
So that year, the City of Albuquerque purchased a new long jump.
Right. Okay.
And we actually built that long jump pit in-house.
Is that right?
A good buddy of mine, Robert Sanchez, he worked for park management at the time. We worked together. We planned this out, and we built that long jump pit. And
that's great ingenuity.
The company built us the runway based around the pit we built.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And then we moved the infield over 16 feet.
Yeah, that's right.
And we had to refabricate the crash pads.
Oh, yeah.
So we shifted everything over 16 feet to fit the new long jump,
Wow.
So there's been a lot of reconstruction, I guess you will, of the track.
Right.
Yeah, we have great employees in the City of Albuquerque that can do that in-house.
That's amazing. Do you have, and the crew that does this, is there a lot of turnover, or is this like this? A lot of these guys have done this track now for 4 or 5 plus years.
For some reason, my staff like me.
I can't imagine why.
And they want to work for me.
Yeah.
And I'm really trying to teach my staff what I do, and I'm all about let everybody know what I'll be transparent with everybody.
Right.
And I'll teach you. You want to learn how to do this track? I'll teach you. I'm ready to hand over the reins to somebody else to take over. And I've got a great staff, and I'm gonna go ahead and name drop them here because they deserve it.
Good.
Johnny Mirabal, he's a great employee of mine. I almost fired him one day as a part-timer. But I just saw something in that guy. I said, I'm going to give you one more chance.
Does he know that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I told him hear this
and be like,
I told him. But, it was, at the time, he was younger. But I just saw something in him. And, I ended up promoting him into a permanent position in the City of Albuquerque. He's a great asset for the City of Albuquerque. And I go on to employees like Regina Bookless. She's really taken an interest in what I do out here.
Right.
She takes care of the Balloon Fiesta Park, but I bring her out here to help with certain aspects of the track. Anthony Gutierrez, he's new this year. He's learning. Luke Martinez, he's also new, first-time tracker this year. And then Richard Newman. They're all new employees for us here in Parks and Recreation. And I just tell them what I know
Yeah.
and the importance of this. And as they're building this track early on, I was explaining, hey, this is why we do what we do. Mm-hmm. And I said, you're going to understand when you see the meet starting. Yeah. I said, I don't know if you think I'm being hard on you right now, what I want done.
Right.
I said, but you're going to see. And this will make sense when the meet starts.
Right.
When we're setting up for USA National Championships, NC2A Championships, you'll see why I have you do what I have you do.
Right.
And they've come to me and said, I understand now. No cutting corners on this track.
Yeah. Right.
So, I have a great crew.
Yeah.
And I think any manager is only as good as their employees.
Well, and that's been evident from, again, I say day one. I remember being so impressed. And again, I work with facilities around the country and great facilities. I mean, awesome facilities, people and things like that. I remember when we were coming in for the last day, so again, Sunday or Monday, whatever it was, the morning to finish out and get our trucks loaded and get out of your way. I was so impressed with the work that your team was doing, but B, the courtesy that you guys were giving us. Some people are like, hey, Gil guys, get out of the way so we can do the real work, the track and things like that. You guys were just so courteous, so conscientious about what we also had to do. Like, it was important for me. I was like, hey, before we get there, because we usually get here at 7 a.m. or whatever, it's like, let's stop by the donut shop. Let's buy donuts for these guys. Like, just something, it's just a small way of just saying, hey, man, thanks. Like, and again, I think you're onto something when you say your manager is only as good as your crew. Well, I think reverse. Leadership is important. I believe, and so they feed off of that energy, positive or negative, that a manager or lead supervisor gives. Yeah. And you have from day one given that type of positive leadership. We're going to wrap this up soon. I told you this would go by fast. We're closing in on an hour.
And it goes back to what you're saying too, the whole one Albuquerque thing.
Yeah.
Let's work together.
Yeah. Well,
I got to mention one more employee's name. His name's Ruben Ayala.
Okay.
And he just recently had a medical episode. He just got discharged from the hospital today. So he's been with me for about 8 years now too. So he's also a great employee of ours too. Awesome. I don't even say employees. We're a team.
Yeah. That's evident right there. Evident for sure. So where did that, for you, where does that leadership come from? Did you have some kind of mentor that taught you this? Was it a parent, a family member? Leadership might be born, but it's also bred. Where was it bred for you?
It's a good question.
That's part of my job, is to ask you really good questions. They're not all softballs here. You gotta have some fastballs here, Dodger man.
I could turn on a fastball. Just quickly thinking about it, I think it's been my experience from, I think, going back to, I guess, my Little League days.
Like the coaches you had then?
Yeah. And, now I'm going through a lot of coaches through my head, and, I think I can recognize now what, hindsight's 20/20, right?
Of course.
Now we know what they mean. We're in our 40s now. Yeah, it all makes sense now. Just want to listen back then.
It's hard to hear when you're 14, but in your 40s.
You know what's funny? Coach Franklin just did a radio show with a local Lobo sports fan, JC Lopez. And he was a coach against me in Little League. I was about 14 years old, somewhere around then.
Who?
JC Lopez at the time.
Oh, okay.
And Coach Franklin did this interview with him to the advertising.
Yeah. Right. I saw it on Facebook.
You saw that, right? JC brought me up. Did you see that part?
No. I will admit I did not watch it. Yeah.
Go 21 minutes into it. Okay. That's the part of it.
Go back and watch it.
And he brought me up. I'm like, JC knows I worked on the track. So he would coach against me. And I saw him a couple years ago. And I reminded him of a story he told me back when I was a kid. Oh. And he told this story to Coach Franklin. It's funny how things are coming full circle.
Yeah, right.
And I remember this to this day. And that had an impact on me. He would walk me. He wouldn't let me hit. Because I was going to hit.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? I was going to hit.
Right.
And he says, and I was upset. I was a little punk back then, kicking the dirt, looking at him, blah, 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 blah. How dare you walk me, blah, blah,
What
blah.
age was this?
About 14 years old.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You knew everything.
Of course I did. Yeah, of course. After the game, he embraced me. He says, walk with me. And he says, mijo, son in Spanish. I do that out of respect. You're a good ball player.
Right.
And I'm not going to let you beat me.
Right, yeah. It is the ultimate sign of respect, but to hitter, yeah.
At the time, I didn't know.
Sure.
But something went ding. I said, okay, I can accept that. I think, so what I'm getting at, organized sports, I think are a huge influence on the youth.
Right.
And if they have the right mentor, not a coach yelling at you all the time, somebody really taking you under their wing. And like it or not, coaches are basically a parent away from home.
Yeah.
And when you are involved with the right ones, Lawrence Quisada was a coach of mine when I was 10, 11, and 12. And I remember he was a strict coach, but, he was correct. He was right.
He had your best interest at heart.
Our best interest. I had an older brother I looked up to. My father was military. I rebelled against that, though. I have long hair today, too, because I couldn't have long hair back then. So it's a couple reasons I have my long hair. No. And then on to high school. I think for me, I guess I listened to the right people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But could it be I was a natural born leader? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I think with you, for sure, there's some of that. But, I do believe, again, leadership is kind of an amalgamation of a lot of things, some positive and some negatives. Maybe there's some people that were negative influences in your life, but you learned, okay, well, I don't want to be or do that. That's the wrong.
Correct.
But it's evident that you've had strong leadership in multiple facets, whether it was a teacher, a baseball coach, maybe even today, you work with, interact with some of the council members. We talk about Brad and those guys, things like that impart onto you. And now it's evident with your team that you are now part of that process to them. In 20 years, one of those guys is going to be a leader of something like this, right? And
it goes back to what I said earlier. Again, you're making me talk about things I don't typically talk about. Why did I become the person I am today? I don't know why. Yeah. I thought of something, I threw it out just now. But you're right. I live a certain creed, if you will, and it's respect people. I respect people, and I expect the same respect in return. And if I don't get it, it's okay. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to complain about it. And I also try to teach that to my staff. We're public servants. We're going to get that customer that comes in that knows it all.
Right.
And how are you going to react to that?
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
So I tried to explain to them, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Let's help our customers. Let's be the best person we can every day. We have to come to work every day. And what I tell them, I said, why do we work? Make money. Right. That's why we work. We can think of 1,000 other things to do besides come to work every day. Especially if you have a family, you want to spend it with them. I said, so we have to be here 40 hours a week. Right. Let's make it the best we possibly can. Right. Let's have fun while we're here. Yeah. Let's do our job. Let's be responsible. Let's take care of what we have to do. Right. But let's have fun while we do it. And that's not everybody's management style. Sure. But that's my style. Yeah. And it seems to work for me.
I think an amazing thing that you just said there, a real key, through this hour that we spoke, lots of great things, but maybe the real gem of this, when you said about respect, and I think a lot of people, they may not show it, but they understand about respect towards other people. But what you said was, I expect other people to be respectful back to me, but if they don't, that's okay. That's the real gem. That's the real hard part. People think it's hard to be respectful to other people. I got bad news. Boy, if that's hard for you, you got a lot of problems. Right. But it is hard when someone disrespects or doesn't show you what you think is respect to you, to be okay with it, to not internalize it, to not let that own you, to be like, you know what, I'm a good person. I'm okay. Maybe that person's having a bad day. I have no idea. That's exactly
what I say. Yeah. I say, you don't know what took place for that person from the time they left their house to get to where we are.
That's it.
What happened? You're not here to judge.
Yeah. I heard it said a different way, literally just last week. Seek to understand, not to be understood. Yeah. Meaning, if someone disses you, shows disrespect, try to understand, where's that person coming from? And you know what? Be okay with just forgiving them. Be like, oh, I don't know, maybe.
Never presume, I tell myself.
Yeah, right. Whoa, how hard is that? That's whoa, there it is right there. Yeah. That's it. Hey, Stephen, it's so funny. I almost wished a little bit that this was a video interview because your phone has been blowing up. I know how important you are. Absolutely.
I hope the track's still put together.
Well, here's the good news. I know you trust me enough that if it was something like, dude, I got to get this, you would have. Yeah, we have that respect with each other. But to wrap this up, I just want to I don't want to call this a word of encouragement, but what really kind of hit me as we were talking about you and what I've known about you here for the last 10 years or so, and really super interesting and humbling to me to talk about your oneness with Albuquerque, right? Yeah. I love that thing down there said, the sign is one in Albuquerque, it's one Albuquerque, because that's who you are. Yeah. You are Albuquerque. The reason I do like this town is because of people like you, of how you embody this town. You give it such a good name, and when people walk away from interactions here at the convention center with track meets and with you and your team, because it's not just you, it's your influence over other things, they walk away with positive experiences. And that it boils down to you and I'm gonna say your upbringing, the way you were raised, and how you become who you are today, man. I
guess I'm doing something right.
You are doing lots of things.
I appreciate hearing that,
dude.
You never know.
I love you to death, man.
I appreciate
you are
it.
an awesome person. I'm so happy. This is gonna blow people's mind because they're gonna listen to these podcasts, and it's gonna be coach, and there's some amazing coaches. Had an interview this morning with a coach that was just so awesome. Yeah. And then they're going to be like, so wait, Steven, where's he coach? I don't know who this is. Yeah. And they're going to find out the person behind the track.
Yeah. Some people call me a track engineer. I'm like, okay.
Oh, man. You don't add engineer to your title.
Yeah, right.
So
like,
much
no.
things, so.
But, I'm grateful for our relationship as well, too. We met each other. Has it been 10 years?
I think it's been 10. I'm going to just say it's 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has.
I think it has been, and I appreciate it, too, I'm grateful for it.
You're awesome, man. Yeah. Thank you so much. This, I told you this hour would go by fast.
I sure did.
That was over an hour.
Yeah.
And again, I love thank you for humbling me, allowing me to bring your story and the story of the Albuquerque Convention Center. Even more special now that we kind of realize this is the last one on this track.
This is it, yeah.
And if you want to purchase that track, and I can tell you, and I'll be on a long list of people that tell you positives about this track. This track's got many, many years of life, especially if it's going to be someone who puts it together and leaves it there.
Yeah.
Because again, there is stress when you take things out. But you get it for someone who's going to have a fixed facility. You got years.
The right person is out there. We just have to find them.
That's it, man.
Right.
Here's the great part. I found the right person right here for this one, baby.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hope you guys enjoy this. Yeah.
Hey, if you've made it this far, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed connecting with Steven as much as I did. The goal here is to bring you interesting people from around the country in the sport of track and field. Most of the time that's going to be coaches, but definitely have a goal of bringing you other people that you may not necessarily get to interact with on a daily, seasonally basis, but are vital to this great sport of track and field. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast to be notified of future episodes so you know exactly when they drop. And if you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the Gill Athletics Connection podcast, contact me at HURDLE@GillAthletics.com. That's right, hurdle@GillAthletics.com. In the meantime, we hope you feel led to share this podcast on your social media network of choice, and join us next time when we once again connect you with yet another great track and field coach.